got two questions up front for Katarina. The first is, was Vampire developed together or at the request of the Indonesian government, or did we sell it to them afterwards? And the second question is, how difficult, expensive, and time-consuming is it to contextualize Vampire to other countries? Now, before you answer those, Katarina, I'm going to answer another question that has been posted in the box. I'll give you a little bit of time to think about that. So the question is, are you planning to give a quick demo trying to visualize some of the data? Now, I owe Anissa an apology because we PDF'd the slides before presenting them, and that took a lot of the interactivity out of the Google Slides. So I'll ask my colleague Dwayne, if he's listening, if he could post a link to the Google Slides into the chat box so people can have a look at those. And there'll be an element of interactivity in that. And then I'll also stop sharing my screen now and see if I can get the Google Slides up and running so that we can run through and show you how the system works. So you can actually see the data layers in the slides in front of you. But while I do that, I will pass over to Katarina to answer the other two questions. If that's possible, Katarina, over to you.
Thanks, George. So let me start with the question that asked whether Vampire was developed together or at the request of the Indonesian government, or if it was sold to the government. So yes, it's a very good question. As a matter of fact, the Vampire was developed jointly with the government as it comes to the idea, not to the system. Government of Indonesia came to what was then El Nino focus group and was asking these questions and needed the answers and needed something to have these answers continuously, not only at that point at time. So we had discussed this problem jointly, and the system-wide solution was then developed with Pulse Lab Jakarta, WFP, FAO, and then presented to the government. So this is how it came about. So it was a joint process. At the moment, as a matter of fact, we are still working together with government agencies in taking the system further, in addressing different problems and gaps in sort of early warning area and space in Indonesia. So this is not one of those systems where it would be cooked in an agency, UN agency, and then presented and sold to a government partner. This was a joint initiative. So that is the first question. Second question, how difficult, expensive, time-consuming is it to contextualize Vampire to other countries? At the moment, it's both difficult and easy. Now, let me specify that, as that probably doesn't make much sense. When we built Vampire, we had to do it very quickly to be able to answer these questions for government partners. Therefore, we didn't really think very much about how to make system adaptable and modular enough to be able to easily adapt it for different contexts. So when we did adaptation for Sri Lanka, it took a bit longer. It took us 3 months to adapt the system, which also obviously includes discussion with partners in government in Sri Lanka. And we've been dealing with a number of technical issues thereafter. However, we've learned our lesson, and at the moment, the changes and adaptations we are doing are have this in mind. So we are a lot more careful in enabling system to be easily adaptable to different contexts. So I hope I answer these questions. Thank you, George. Over to you.